Are you a new business owner and do you need a website? Because if you are, then please stick around. Don't do anything. Stop whatever you're doing and come and join me. Or, you know, the alternative is, have you been in business for quite a while and things have shifted and changed? Your website has kind of just stayed there dormant, hasn't really been kept up to date. Or, you know, it's different. It's just not resonating with you anymore. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. It isn't, you know, it just isn't working anymore. The solution to that, of course, is to get a new website done, right? And so stick around, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Before you jump in and hire somebody to help or, you know, do anything, it's very critical that you take these 10 steps into consideration first. If you've been hanging around with me for the last several tea time tips, I've been, you know, covering a lot of detail about, you know, creating a marketing plan and what you need to do and create first before you jump in and start building a website. And so, you know, just to kind of recap a little bit about what that marketing plan entailed, because there's some really valuable information in there. So if you're watching this on Facebook, just scroll down or click on videos and you'll see all of the past videos that I've been doing, or head over to our website and click on Tea Time Tips and you'll see the series of videos that we did. And so what I did first was I gave you the basics of what you should do in your marketing plan. You know, just the basics. It's not, you know, this huge, overburdening kind of a doldrums kind of a thing. I just give you the basics of, you know, at least what you need to do for your marketing plan. And then I went into some detail over the next few sessions about what you want to cover within that marketing plan. And the first one is identifying your USP, your unique selling proposition. And in that, I shared 6 steps that will help strengthen your business brand, the perception of your business brand, which is super important. And then in the next one I did was identifying your ideal client. Gave you literally an ideal client definition guide to follow, which really will help you define your business niche and, you know, really, you know, follow those guidelines, and that'll get you really super clear on who it is that you want to attract into your business and work with. And then in the last Tea Time tip, I covered the advanced competitor research that you could be doing to help you discover your unique selling proposition, so that you aren't just another person in a sea of other people who are doing the same thing. You have to come up with your unique selling proposition, your USP. And I covered a lot of stuff about what you can do to create your unique positioning so that you rise above the crowd and get more noticed and more seen with your niche through a bunch of competitor research that I shared. So as I mentioned, today I'm providing a 10-point checklist on what your next steps need to be before you hire a web developer or try to set up your own website yourself, which I don't recommend for many reasons, but that's a whole nother show altogether. I've talked about that before. You know, it really is in your best interest to hire somebody who actually knows what they're doing, because there's just so much more to building a website than just dragging and dropping stuff into it. You know, I'll quickly digress, because I was talking to somebody the other day and I had said to her, well, you know, just because you know how to use a calculator doesn't make you a mathematician. So just because you or your VA knows how to use those drag and drop WYSIWYG website builders doesn't make them you know, knowledgeable enough about what actually, you know, all the subtle nuances and what actually needs to go into a website in order to make it actually work for you. It's one thing to have it sitting there, but a whole nother thing to actually do what it's supposed to do, which is attract your ideal clients and convert them either into your newsletter list or into you know, signing up for a free consultation, or of course making a purchase. So that's big difference there. So hey, I've been rambling quite a bit here, but just in case you don't know who I am, I'm Susan Friesen with eVision Media, and it's a full service web development and digital marketing firm where we help build successful businesses through brand and graphic design, custom website design and development, and digital marketing, so our clients can be proud to showcase their business to the world. And so if you know of anybody who really needs to hear this topic today, can you please give it a share and share it over to your followers? That would be awesome. Have you started the exciting journey of owning your own business and in need of a website? Even if you have an existing site, but it really sucks because your business has changed quite a bit since it was first built, or it just never was built properly to begin with, and it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. So stick around. Now, before asking any web developers for estimates on building a new website, there are several things that you should think through first, so that you're fully prepared on the questions that you will be asked, and more importantly, what questions to ask potential developers, that you're going to be approaching. So I am going to be on the assumption that you are going to hire somebody to do your website for you, and not just try to do it yourself, or have your VA do it who isn't a web developer, because if your VA was a true web developer, that's what they would be calling themselves. Okay, so the first thing that you want to be clear on is your business plan. Yes, this may sound really obvious, but it has happened before where I've been asked to build a website when the potential client really only had an idea of what they wanted. They really didn't have any business foundation in place. Nothing was planned out yet. And, it's really tough to build a website when there's no business plan serving as a foundation to support that. So make sure that you have, a viable business idea that will provide you with a reasonable return on your investment. Or is it more of a hobby that you just want to dabble in? Because that will make a big difference. Like if it is just a hobby, something that, just making some side income on, then yeah, just, the investment that you make on your website isn't as dire. It isn't, it isn't something that your livelihood is depending on, right? So you might want to just invest in one of those do-it-yourself builders. And so it is important to be clear on your intentions of what you want to accomplish first before you do anything. All that strategy and planning has to be put in place first. So what you want to do is go through the marketing plan basics that I covered. And I was just talking about that, in those past tea time tips, to be certain that you have a solid plan in place, and, how you're going to actually make any money in your business. And don't just assume that people are going to purchase, right? So make sure that you are clear that they are not only going to purchase, but they see enough value in it to give you their money for it. They might love the idea, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to purchase it. So you have to be super clear on that. And then the next thing, item number 2, the second thing that you have to be clear on is your business name. And so when I say be clear on your business name, you might have an idea for a business name, but make sure that you get it registered first before you do anything, because it has to be registered in your province or state, wherever you are in the world, and so that nobody else can steal it from you, or nobody else has already used it. They've already registered it. And therefore you are illegally using that name. And they can at any moment say, cease and desist, you're snooze, you lose. You can't use that name. And so you want to avoid going through all of the expense of setting up designing a logo and setting up a website and doing all your marketing, only to find out that you can't use that business name anymore. So super important. But definitely do that before getting your domain name, designing a logo, and creating any of your marketing materials. And in fact, actually, if you want to go to our blog, I did an interview with Andrei Mincov, where we talked about trademarks and protecting your brand. And because in that interview, I shared a story of a client who actually wanted to use a particular business name for her business. And she was all ready to have us design her logo and do her website and all that kind of stuff. And I, something was niggling at me, and I said, let's just double check and make sure that that name isn't being used already. And I had seen quite a few instances of it when I did a Google search, and I really encouraged her to go and do a trademark search. And sure enough, it was protected by a registered trademark, and she couldn't use it. And so thank goodness she did do that. I mean, yeah, there's a little expense up front, but it saved her thousands of dollars afterwards by knowing ahead of time that she could not use the business name that she wanted to use. Okay, that's number 2. Now, number 3 is to be clear on the product you sell or the service you provide. Now, again, that might be a little bit of an obvious thing too, but it is all tied in with your business and marketing plan. You do have to be clear on, how you're going to make money, right? And be clear and that the product that you offer, the service that you offer, is viable and is clear on how you're going to be selling it too. So your web developer needs to know what site features to create in order to support that, and what design will work best to feature that product or service. So it's not just about making the money, but it's about how are you going to actually offer this item or this product or this service. You want to ask yourself, is it a digital product? Is it a membership program? Is it a service for hire? Or if it's a product itself, like a widget, how many are you going to have in your shopping cart system? How are you going to handle the shipping? Not just local shipping, but cross country or to other parts of the world. What about inventory tracking? Are you going to need a system that will support you in tracking your inventory? And even packaging, how are you going to package it? How are you going to ship it? So there's all of those kinds of nuances about, what your web developer needs to know in order to support you and your business. Otherwise, both of you are just guessing, and you're going to end up being disappointed because it's not going to be working. You haven't done the preliminary steps that you need to do. All right, so then we've got number 4, which is being clear on your brand. Now, this does not mean that you need to have a logo developed already. In fact, like I was saying, some full service web development agencies like ours at eVision Media, we also design logos and create the whole look and feel of the brand. So, for us, it's ideal if you come to us without a logo already created so that we can create the whole look and feel based on your niche, your personality, your brand representation, that perception that you want to have. And so we can do all of the business brand marketing materials with that, along with the website. The feel, the essence of your brand needs to translate into your logo, into your marketing materials, and obviously into your website. So it's important that this all gets done at the same time so that the people that you work with, the team that you work with, has a full understanding of how your brand needs to be represented so that it gives you the best chance of success possible. And so as a part of that, you need to be clear on the message that you want to give others about your business. And that's what I'm talking about with the brand representation, the perception. A solid visual brand helps people know what to expect from you. It promotes professionalism and purpose for your business. It draws prospects who are in alignment with your ideas and values and attitudes. And it enhances confidence and trust and rapport with your followers too. Like if you're coming across as a very confident professional business person, then that elicits the same kind of trust that your prospects are looking for, and they're going to resonate with that. It also builds up the existing brand experience that they have with you in a positive or negative way. Like if it isn't done properly, then it could very much be a negative experience that they have if your brand look and feel hasn't been done properly. So visual branding does add real power to your marketing. It increases engagement and understanding of your target market, and of course will help convert those people into paying clients because you've got their trust. And so this isn't an easy and quick process, but it makes a significant difference if you are clear on this before moving on to anything else. When we work with clients on designing their logo, what we do first is we go through that brand definition process process with them on helping them understand their unique selling proposition and their brand positioning. So it's oftentimes, and it's not a criticism, there's a lot going on when you're wanting to start a new business. And oftentimes a business owner doesn't really know what that is. And so I work with them and help them figure that out. We figure it out together. And so, that's just something that really does need to be done. It's such a mandatory thing. And as a result, with you being very clear on not only the essence of your brand, but also how your brand needs to look in order to attract the right people to your business. And this is not the time to design your own logo, unless you are already a designer and a brand expert. If you are, then you're probably not even watching this, because you could be doing this yourself. So I hate to say it, but you really, really want to avoid giving the wrong impression. The font choices, the color choices, the style, all play a significant emotional, psychological role in that brand representation. And if you choose the wrong item in any of those three, you are setting yourself up for people just misunderstanding what your brand is. And so your personal style may not be the ideal fit for your business brand. And so you need to realize that just because you love something doesn't mean that what you love is going to resonate the best with your ideal target market. Now, by the way, your brand is so much more than just a website or just a logo. It's the total user's experience and perception of you, whether they're talking to you face to face, more of that personal brand, or of any kind of thing that, every touch point that a prospect has with you, should be very consistent and emulate that overall brand that we are so hard trying to achieve. So this includes your logo, your website, your stationery, your social media, videos, your brochures, your business cards, and of course, like I said, your personal brand in how you dress and how you present yourself to the world. All of that is a reflection of your business and your business success. And if you're at that point of needing a logo done, contact me to get more insights on what the process entails. We've developed a lot of brands for a lot of small businesses and solo entrepreneurs, and I would be honored if you would have us help you with that as well. Now we are on item number 5, where you want to be clear on what you want your website to actually accomplish. A website that does not have any clear call to action is not going to be very effective in fulfilling its purpose. So if you aren't clear on what its purpose is, then you're not going to be able to have the right content on it in order to achieve what it's supposed to achieve. So think about it in terms of this. When a visitor comes to your website, what do you want them to do once they're there? Do you want them to just, bask in your glory of what service or product that you have to offer? Sure. But what's the next step? What do you want them to do? What's going to be that primary call to action? What's the true purpose of your website? And it's not always going to be to make a direct sale. Yes, if you run a shopping cart, an online store, then your goal is to make a direct sale. But, stats say that most first-time visitors to a website don't make a purchase. So what are you going to do with that assumption? Somebody first-time visitor comes to your website, they don't make a purchase. What do you want them to do? And thus, really what you want them to do is have, get into your newsletter list. You need to set up some sort of a lead generator when they come to visit, so that, yes, they've come, they're thinking about it, they haven't quite made that decision process yet, but they don't want to forget about you, so they're going to sign up for your newsletter and hopefully get a freebie to help them get even more convinced that you are the best person to work with, or your product is the best product for them. And really think that through. It's not just meant to be a brochure where you got to lead the visitors from one step to another. What is it that you want them to do? And that might be if it is to set up for your free consultation, yes. But that is also a commitment. Signing up for a free consultation is almost as much of a commitment as actually making a purchase. So you really want to have that middle ground. Getting into your database, into your newsletter list, really is your best chance at converting these people who are thinking about it. They're on the fence, and they just need a little bit more convincing. So through your newsletter service and your autoresponders is how you're going to make that. Which leads me to number 6, which is being clear on how you're going to get your website visitors into your database. Okay, so the odds, like I said, are very slim that someone is going to make a purchase from you on their first visit to your website. So you need a plan. You need to plan out a way to capture their name and their email address so you can keep in touch with them on a regular basis and continue to develop that relationship with them. What you want to do is set up an autoresponder series, a system to lead them, through to that purchase process, or to contact you for a free consultation, or showcase your products a little bit more to enhance the features, let them know a little bit more about why they should be buying it. You might have noticed, like, if you're on our newsletter list, and I hope you are, I am a big proponent of sending out a regular newsletter to serve as a continuous touch point with the people who have experienced interest in what we offer. It helps people, it helps develop that know, like, and trust factor. And, when they are ready to purchase, that's when they'll actually make the purchase. Okay. There's many industries where right at this particular moment is not going to be, the time that I'm needing that service, but 5 months from now, I might. So if I'm on somebody's newsletter service and then every month, every 2 weeks, every week, whatever, I'm getting an email that I'm not going to forget about when the time comes, I'm going to, yeah, right, I've been hearing a lot about this person. I'm going to, contact them because I feel like I know them already. And the other thing is that maybe they might never purchase from you, but they might be a referral source for you. And I get lots of referrals from people who aren't actually our clients, but they know of us. They know what kind of service that we offer. We know that they're going to be in good hands with us. And so they refer people to us. Okay, so number 7 is being clear on what features you want your site to have. Is it going to be a static brochure site where you just have your standard 4 or 5 pages, or do you want something a little bit more robust with features such as a blog or a calendar or a gallery, a search function, a shopping cart system, of course, a newsletter system, membership sign up? So, there's lots of features that can be added to and supplement a website, and you have to know what those features are, or at least talk with somebody who does know about your business, and can offer suggestions. And have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And I do that all the time with our clients, where I'm saying, well, yes, they come to us saying, well, I just want something simple. I just want a 4-page website. Okay, yeah, that's great. So what do you want them to do? Well, I want to get some SEO traction. Well, then you really need to have a blog if you want to have some SEO traction with your website. So, work with somebody who's actually very knowledgeable in not just developing the website, but the bigger picture of how are you going to get traffic to that website, and understand all those subtle nuances that are involved in the whole process from start to finish, not just how it's going to look and be done with it. Okay. All right, so the number 8 is being clear on your budget. So your developer needs to know a price that you are, looking at, so that they can recommend a site build that will fit within your means. Hopefully, like you can't expect a Cadillac website and pay for, a Honda. Right? You have to be reasonable with your expectations on how much it's going to cost. And, if you want something done right and you don't want to waste time, you don't want to have to redo it again a year later because it was just trash, then know that you are going to be investing some money on your website. So, and keep in mind that your website is your primary marketing piece. it is there working for you, and it's accessible for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it is the biggest investment that you should be making on your marketing, because anybody can go to it at any time of the day and get that immediate impression of you and your business. And you will never know how many people you have lost because your website wasn't done the way that would resonate with them. Okay. So you just don't know what you're losing because you put up something cheap and easy to begin with. Don't be fooled by those cheaper template options. This is not the time to skimp on such an important showcase of your business. Getting those lower costing VAs to do the work, or thinking that you'll save tons with the do-it-yourself drag and drop applications out there. It's not, in the long run, it's not going to be in your best interest to do that. None of these options include the art and intricate nuances of how online marketing works, of the critical search engine optimization that needs to be at play. Otherwise, no one's ever going to even know that your website exists if it doesn't get found in the search engines. And also what creates a good user experience, and from that layout and design, sometimes I cringe at how bad some websites are out there. And, just because you have something up doesn't mean it's working. It's not doing its thing. If it isn't done professionally, and properly, you do run the risk of scaring off your perfect customers instead of attracting them. I can't emphasize this enough. You won't get the the conversions and the conversations that you want, and everything you've done to this point will be for naught and a big waste of time and money. So if you haven't figured it out yet, we do. That's what we do. We design custom looking websites. We don't purchase themes to ensure, that the look and feel is unique to our client's brand. We start from scratch. And yes, we build WordPress websites, but it's a custom built theme. It's not a drag and drop builder. It's not a purchase theme where we just have to replace the logo and change some colors and call it a day and charge, mega tons of money. You have to understand the difference between all the different kind of web developers out there. So just to give you an idea, because what our prices are, they usually start in the range of 3,200 Canadian, and they can go up from there. It all depends on what other functionalities that you want in play. Like if you want a shopping cart system, then you have to expect to pay a little bit more than that, and that's Canadian too. So for my American friends, there is that conversion, and you're going to save at least 25% off of that quoted amount because you're in the States right now. Anyway. Right now our dollar is quite a bit more weaker to the American dollar. So that's our American friends are really enjoying that. So the final point about the website is invest wisely, with your budget. Have enough money in that budget to hire a professional who will do the job right the first time, so that you can spend more of your effort on actually building your business and getting more clients. And I see I've got a few comments going on here. And Denise says, I find this so true. One can really tell the difference between website designs. I feel if they don't do it right, the experience is tainted from the get-go. So right. I mean, sometimes we don't even realize it, right? That when we go to someone's website and we, we're just turned off. We don't really understand what that is or why. We just are like, and we're gone. Off to the competitors. And so that's so true, Denise. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And then, and Karen says, so true, Denise. I just shudder at some sites and I bail very quickly if they have not got the business sense to portray their business in its initial best light. So true, Karen. And you know what too, like, I think that from a personal perspective, we often don't see our own flaws. Let's put it that way. So we put up something that we think is beautiful. I mean, gosh, I think of some of the stuff that I did 15 years ago, and it's like, holy cow, okay, does it scream amateur any more than that? And so that's the problem, is that if your website looks cheap, if it looks amateurish, if it doesn't convey your brand in a way that really helps, build a positive experience for your clients, prospective clients, then they're gone. they've judged and juried you within 5 seconds of being on your website. So just don't take it lightly. All right. So number 9, we're on number 9. Be clear on your website maintenance. And so once your site is built, who's going to maintain it? Who's going to keep it up? If you want to be able to update your site yourself, then, you do need to have a website builder, a content management system platform. Typically nowadays it's WordPress. And most often, WordPress works just fine. There's no reason why. WordPress has grown and evolved so much over the years. There was a long time where we never used WordPress because it was just like rinky-dink, but now it's very robust. So it's not very often where we need to recommend a different kind of a platform, but maybe for corporate clients we would, but not for your smaller businesses. Most of the time WordPress is best suited for your business plan. Now, before you get excited about the thought of saving all that money and doing the maintenance yourself, consider these points, because this is something that I've come across many times. Do you know enough about the content layout and copywriting to make an effective marketing piece that looks professional to your perfect client? Do you know how to optimize images so they don't slow down your website's performance? Do you have enough time to update the site yourself? And are you technically inclined enough to be able to confidently make site updates without breaking anything? That's the key. What would happen if you did break something? Where do you go? And all of a sudden your website is just a disaster because you hit a wrong button or put a wrong code in somewhere. And then the other point to think is, are you aware that you can't write off your own time that you spend doing things yourself for your business? Where if you do hire somebody to take care of this stuff for you, that's a write-off. So that's something to think about too. And as you can tell, I'm a little biased on this point, but, after working with hundreds of clients over the years, these points always come up. And as soon as they find out that even though it seemed easy to update their own website themselves, it actually rarely turned out that way. And they ended up having us do it for them because they were extremely frustrated. They were working in an environment and a medium totally foreign to them. That wasn't their core competency. Website development is my core competency. So, don't expect that you should be an expert at website development if that's not what your job is. That's not what your career is. And meanwhile, they're wasting a lot of valuable time trying to learn how to be a web developer and spending, instead of spending all that time and energy on actually getting clients. So think about that. And think about that as something to think about. And mind you, some people are much more computer literate and can pick up more technical stuff and as required, and they manage just fine. However, it is still important to learn good copywriting skills and understand what makes an effective website before going the do-it-yourself route. And there's also the security part to consider. If you do end up with a WordPress built website, then you must have some sort of a security measures in place to avoid being hacked. And being hacked is a huge, huge, huge problem. So you have to make sure that you understand what you need to do to maintain your website to avoid getting hacked. Now, we do have a website security and maintenance plan that we encourage all of our clients to take advantage of so that their site is safely backed up on a monthly basis, plus all of the things are done for them to minimize their risk of intrusion, of getting hacked. So keep that in mind as well about the maintenance part. Okay, so I'm now on number 10 of the top 10 things that you need to be clear on before you hire a web developer. And the number 10, drum roll please, be sure you do your research on who to approach and who you end up hiring. There's a huge, huge number of web developers out there. And there's a huge difference between many of them as well. Beware of those that claim to be developers when in reality, all they've learned how to do is install a common WordPress theme and do minor tweaks to it. They really That's all they've figured out how to do. And like I said at the top of the show, if you're thinking of getting your VA to do the website work for you, I encourage you to ensure that they actually have the skills needed first. Like I said, if they were actually a true web developer and had the true skills that a web developer needs to have, they wouldn't be calling themselves a VA. And, I know that, VAs are wonderful. They have their place in the business. There's lots of really, really, really good VAs, supporting a business. But, and often what I find is that a VA is so eager to please, they will say yes to, oh, sure, I can do your website. And then off to YouTube they go to figure out how. And that's not what you want. Just having a website up is not what you want. You want a website that actually works for you and is doing its job and is worth the investment that you put into it. And so also on the flip side of VAs is beware of actual technical programmers. The geeks of the world who only do exactly what you tell them to do, as opposed to others like us who can offer ideas and suggestions and be a part of your team to help mold and develop your brand identity and be that valuable resource when you need it to be. Now we have programmers, we have those technical geeky programmers on our team, and they know I call them that, and they serve a very valuable purpose. They're the ones who are building the site, but they are taking their direction from me and our design team. They're not doing it by themselves. It's very hard for them to do it by themselves because they're solely focused on the functionality, making sure everything is working. They're not looking at the look and feel, at the marketing part, at the branding part, about making sure the calls to action are right. That's not their job. That's not what they do. And so be careful about who you hire and make sure that they're not just a technical programmer. Yes, they have the technical skills, but they don't have all the other marketing skills that are needed. So you want to find somebody with experience and skill who will partner with you to help you build your business. And always ask to talk to their clients to see what their experience was working with that developer. That will be very much of an insight to you if they got frustrated with the process or if they loved the process. And so, that's definitely ask for referrals. And the quality of your site, both in design and how it's coded, is very important on many, many levels. So ensure that the person that you hire understands how that design and build quality, so that they can build that quality product for you. We've been in the web development industry for, actually, I've been in this industry for 20 years myself, and eVision Media has been around for over 15 years. Hiring a team as opposed to a single person will get you a variety of skill sets that you need in the design and the branding, in the programming, the SEO, the copywriting, the marketing, all of that stuff. You can get that when you work with a team as opposed to a single person. So if you are in the business of, or if you are on the lookout for a web developer, if you need to get a new website done, if you're starting out in business and you need to start from scratch with your logo and your website and all that kind of stuff, or if your website is just old and tired and is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, give me a call, send me a message, or head over to our evisionmedia.ca website. We are a full service web development and digital marketing agency that will create your brand and showcase your business and nurture your dream to reality. So that's it for today's Tea Time Tip. Thank you so much. Come and watch me live every second Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern time, where I'm covering lots of valuable tips and insights on how to market your business online. And this is just one more of the marketing plan basics that I covered, another stage in that area. And I'm going to keep talking about websites and online marketing in future shows. And so I hope that you come and join me, and I so appreciate you coming in. And if you have any questions at all, even after the show is live and you're watching the recording, go ahead and type in your question. I'd be happy to answer. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.